I still remember the last day of senior year like it happened yesterday. June 6th, 2018. Brookvale High, a school that had been standing for over 70 years. It was a rundown old building with chipped lockers, dusty hallways, and creaky floors. Most of the classes had moved to the new wing 2 years earlier, so the west wing of the school, the original section built in the 50s, was mostly abandoned. Except for one thing, the old music room at the end of that wing, room 312. No one used it. Rumors said it was shut down after a student went missing during detention in the 90s. Everyone joked about it being haunted, but no one ever really believed it, except maybe me. There was something about that hallway, cold, even in summer. Lights always flickering, doors that creaked open by themselves. On that final day, the school held an early dismissal, but our friend group decided to sneak back, in for one last thrill. Just something dumb to remember forever. There were 5 of us. Me, Jason, Priya, Brandon, and Elise. We weren't supposed to be there. The wing was roped off, but Jason picked the janitor's lock like he always did, and we crept in. It was 12:41 p.m. when we entered. The hallway felt colder than I remembered. The lights buzzed above us, flickering as if the building knew we were there. We reached room 312. Jason opened the door slowly, and the hinges let out this groaning metallic cry. The air inside was thick, like no one had entered in years. Dust floated in the sunlight, and broken music stands littered the floor. A single upright piano stood in the corner, its keys exposed. I said something like, "Well, this is it. One last haunted selfie for the books." But before I could pose, the door slammed shut behind us. No wind. No one touched it. Just bang, and total darkness. At first, we laughed. Nervous, stupid laughter. We figured Jason was playing a prank, trying to scare us. But when we tried to open the door, it was stuck, not locked, not jammed, just wouldn't budge. Brandon kicked it. Jason pulled. Nothing. Then Elise turned to the corner and whispered, "Did you hear that?" We all stopped. There was a sound, very faint, like a soft humming, a tune, low, familiar. It was coming from the piano. None of us had touched it. The keys began to press themselves, one by one, slowly, playing a simple melody, like a lullaby. Jason rushed forward and yanked the piano's plug from the wall, but it kept playing. I felt my skin crawl. Priya started backing away when the window behind her shattered, as if something had thrown itself against it from the inside. We screamed and tried the door again. Still wouldn't open. Suddenly, Elise gasped and pointed to the blackboard. There was writing on it, fresh, as if written in chalk seconds ago. "Class isn't dismissed." We all backed away from it, breath held. Then the bell rang, the old school bell. Except this one was different, deeper, echoing, like it wasn't just heard, it was felt in your bones. Then came the footsteps, from the hallway, slow, dragging, getting closer to the door. Someone was coming. Jason grabbed a metal chair and prepared to swing it at anything that came through the door. Elise was crying by now, her back to the blackboard. I took out my phone, no signal. The clock on the wall had stopped at 12:44 p.m. The footsteps stopped outside the room. Then, silence. And then we heard it. A voice, whispering through the crack under the door.
"Only 4 left."
We froze. What? There were 5 of us. We turned. Brandon was gone. Just gone. No scream, no sound, no trace. I rushed to where he had stood. Nothing but his phone on the ground. Screen cracked. We screamed, banged on the walls, looked under desks, behind the piano. Nothing. Then the chalkboard wrote again, this time slower. One by one, We ran to the door again, and this time it opened. We bolted out, ran down the dark hallway, but the hallway kept going. We should have reached the front by then, but it was like we were looping. Then one of the lockers opened on its own. Elise was pulled in before any of us could blink. Just like that. Gone. Jason screamed and ran back, trying to pry it open. Priya grabbed my hand. Her fingers were ice cold. We turned a corner and finally saw the light of the exit sign. Jason ran ahead. He tripped. I turned him over and he was staring into nothing, his eyes wide, mouth full of blood, whispering something over and over. "He's taking attendance." I dragged him through the exit with Priya. Somehow, we were outside. The old wing was completely quiet, not a single soul around. The sun had gone behind the clouds. It felt wrong, like we weren't supposed to have escaped. An hour later, Brandon and Elise were reported missing. No trace, no signs, nothing on the school's security cameras. They never came back. Jason had to be hospitalized. He hasn't spoken since. Me and Priya, we never talk about it. We couldn't, even if we tried. It's been 5 years, but every year on June 6th at 12:44 p.m., I get a notification on my phone. Class not dismissed. It was the last day of school. The sun was setting, and most of us seniors were already halfway out of our caps and gowns, yelling, hugging, crying, doing all the typical goodbye forever stuff in the parking lot. The school buses lined up to take everyone home one last time. Most of the students had parents picking them up, but my close friend Travis and I, Jason, had always taken bus 14. The driver, Mr. Howie, was one of those no-nonsense, chain-smoking Vietnam vet types who never smiled. But today, even he seemed oddly quiet. "Only 6 kids on this run," he muttered, tapping the clipboard. "Shortest ride of the year." We shrugged and hopped on. We sat at the back with 4 others, Kelly, Brian, Jared, and Emily. It was quiet. For a while. Then Howie said something strange. He glanced at the rearview mirror and said, "Bridge is closed. Gotta take the old Forest Road." All of us groaned. That road had been blocked off for years. Twisted trees, no lights, no GPS signal. People always said creepy stuff happened out there, but we assumed it was just stories. Still, we didn't argue. We were almost adults now, too old to be scared. That was mistake number 1. About 20 minutes into the detour, it got dark, like unnaturally dark. The forest on both sides of the road seemed to lean inward, swallowing the fading sunlight. None of us had signal, no music, no chatter. And Mr. Howie hadn't spoken in a while. Eventually, Brian said, aren't we taking a little too long?" That's when we noticed. We'd passed the same broken road sign 3 times. We all saw it. A snapped wooden post with faded red spray paint. Turn back. And Mr. Howie, he just kept driving like he didn't notice. Then suddenly, the bus jerked to a stop. Hard. Everyone lurched forward. We looked outside, and there was a man standing in the middle of the road. No flashlight, no car, no expression. Just standing barefoot on the gravel. "Is he okay?" Emily whispered. Before anyone could move, Mr. Howie opened the door. "Hey!" Jared shouted. "What are you doing?" But Mr. Howie got off the bus and walked toward the man, like in a trance. They stood face to face, unmoving. And then, both of them turned their heads slowly and stared directly at us. That's when the bus lights flickered. We were yelling, screaming, but the engine wouldn't turn over. Suddenly, the man disappeared. Just vanished. Mr. Howie came back on, bored, sat down and said coldly, "Next stop, where you belong." That was the last thing he said. The road twisted and twisted. We banged on the windows, tried forcing the emergency exit. Nothing worked. And then, we noticed something horrifying. The trees were repeating. Same crooked branch, same torn up. Tire by the ditch. Over and over. We weren't moving forward. We were looping. Kelly had a panic attack. Emily started crying. And then Brian looked at the back of the bus and said, "Where's Jared?" We all froze. He was gone, his seat empty. No sound, no footsteps, no scream, just gone. And then Kelly disappeared. 1 second she was there. Next second, gone. Seats empty, like they never existed. I ran to the front and tried grabbing the wheel, but it was stuck. Mr. Howie didn't blink. His eyes were white, no pupils, no color. Emily screamed, pointing out the window. In the trees, we saw them. Our friends, running, barefoot, eyes wide, hands banging on glass that wasn't there. They were trapped, in the forest. The bus slowed down one final time. Emily whispered, "Don't look at them. Please don't look." And then, darkness. I woke up on the side of the road. My parents told me I was found 2 towns over, wandering in the woods near an old hunting cabin. I was dehydrated. My clothes were torn. I had scratches all over my arms. The other students, never found. Mr. Howie, gone. The bus, disappeared. But sometimes, when I drive past West Hill's old back road at night, I see a yellow bus moving through the trees. No headlights, no driver. It was the last day of school, and we were done. No more uniforms, no more teachers, and no more cafeteria food. Everyone was busy taking selfies and throwing papers in the air. I just wanted to leave. Me, my cousin Logan, and my friend Tyler decided to skip the farewell speeches and leave early. There was a chain-link fence behind the back of the school, just beyond the football field. Nobody ever went there because the area was blocked off by the school for construction, though none of us ever saw any machines or workers there. It was a dry, overgrown field with a faint trail, mostly used by seniors to sneak out unnoticed. That day, we noticed the fence had been cut open, a perfect hole like someone sliced it clean. "Shortcut," Logan said with a grin. We climbed through without thinking twice. About 5 minutes into the field, things already felt off. It was late afternoon, but the sky suddenly looked duller, more grey. There were no birds, no sound, no breeze. The path had old tire tracks, as if a vehicle had gone through, recently. Then we saw it, a wooden board sticking out of the ground. On it, carved by hand, were 4 words. "Turn back. Stay safe." We paused. Tyler laughed nervously. Some prank. But I had this uneasy feeling crawling inside my chest, like something was watching us. We pushed forward anyway. The dry path led us to a small clearing surrounded by tall grass. Right at the center of it was a deep pit, at least 10 feet wide. Dirt around it was freshly dug, but the inside was completely dark, unnaturally dark. There was a stench in the air, sharp and metallic. We stood at the edge, trying to see what was down there. Tyler picked up a rock and dropped it in. No sound, not even a thud. "Maybe it's some kind of water well," Logan said, but he didn't sound confident. Just then, we noticed something else. Drag marks in the dirt leading into the pit, like someone had been pulled. That's when my phone buzzed. A message. From an unknown number. Just 1 sentence. "Why didn't you turn back?" I stared at it, frozen. Then all our phones buzzed. Same number, same message. A cold chill ran down my spine. "We need to go," I said, already backing up. But Logan was staring into the trees. "Did you see that?" "See what?" There was someone, tall, standing between those trees, watching. I looked, nothing, but the feeling of being watched was overwhelming now. That's when we heard it, scraping from inside the pit, metal on stone, slow, getting louder. We ran. We bolted through the tall grass back toward the broken fence, but the path was different now. The trees were denser, darker, like the field had shifted. It no longer felt like the same place we'd entered. "Just keep running!" I yelled. Logan was the first to stop. "Guys," he said, his voice shaking. We turned to look. Behind us, something was crawling out of the pit. We couldn't see its full shape, but it was tall, unnatural, and had multiple arms, bent at wrong angles. It didn't run. It didn't scream. It just followed. Slowly. Like it knew we wouldn't find our way out. The sky grew darker, though it wasn't even 5 p.m. yet. Then, suddenly, we saw the hole in the fence. It was still there. We jumped through, all of us, except Tyler. He was right behind me, I swear he was. We stopped and looked back. Nothing. No sound. No movement. We waited, called his name again and again. But he never came out. The next day, the school claimed he went home early. Police found no trace. No field, no pit, no fence hole. They said we were lying, making it up. Graduation stress, they called it. But Logan and I, we still get those texts. Every year, on the same day, from the same number. Why didn't you turn back?